Hey guys, so I'm coming to you today to show you how I install my U-parts and my closures. And sorry about the quality in this video here. I was having some issues. But so I'll be using a silk-based closure from Madira Virgin Hair Company. And then I'll also be using an elastic band that I got from Walmart for about 99 cents. And so I don't do anything particularly different, but many people do ask about my installs, so let's get started. The first thing you need to do is you need to measure with the band around the circumference of your head so you know how much of the band to cut, or at least that's what I do. And then after you know how much, you can sew the edges of the band onto the edges of the closure. So I did not do that in the video just to save time. But after you do that, you want to go ahead and place that around your head because that's the first thing that I sew down. And so I always put my closure in the middle, no matter whether I'm doing a side part or a middle part, if my closure is big enough. And then you want to clip it up out of the way. That way you can go ahead and begin to sew it down. Now, many people say, why sew it down if you have the elastic band? Well, it prevents it from shifting backwards and forwards, so that's why I like to sew it down. So you just want to sew all around the circumference of the closure. So you start at the very edge and sew all the way around, and you'll see me doing that here in the video. And so once you have the closure sewn down, you still want to keep it clipped up out the way, and then you want to get the U-part. So I have a U-part that I made from some Brazilian hair from Natural Beauty Boutique. And so you want to place that where you want it on your head, and I clip the other side up, and then I begin sewing exactly where I sewed around the perimeter of the closure. That's the first thing I sew. And I sew in 3 different sections I'll explain in a minute here. So you just want to go ahead and keep sewing all the way around the base of the closure. Not only is it reinforcement for the closure not to shift, but you also don't want your U-part hanging out as well. And you just want to keep sewing all the way around until you get to the other side. And then once you get to the end, I go ahead and tie it off because I'm going to start sewing in a new area. So you want to keep on sewing all the way around till you get to the end, like I just mentioned before. Okay, and so then I sew down the sides. Now, the important thing to remember about the sides is that you still have the elastic band there. So what I try to do is I try to sew behind the sides of the elastic band. As you can see, me have some issues here in the video. But I try to sew behind the elastic band and connect the elastic band to the U-part, if that makes sense. And I sew my sides down separately just because I feel like my unit is more secure when I sew my sides separately instead of just all one thread, if that makes sense. And so then you want to do the same for the other side. Okay, and so what happened is my camera stopped recording when I sewed the back down, so I wasn't able to get fat, but then you would want to sew the back down as well as a separate thread. And so once I have all that sewn down, I part the closure where I want it parted, and as you can see, the closure does not match the density of my real hair. So the next step is to tweeze the closure. So all you do is just begin to tweeze the closure, tweeze those couple of hairs in the front. For me, well, for this particular closure, it seemed to be more dense right where my hair my real part meet at the closure. So that's where I begin to tweeze the most, and then I just tweeze it out until I feel that it does indeed begin to match my natural, the density of my natural part. The goal is just to have the closure look as natural as possible, so you can tweeze as much as you want to, and it's best to do a little bit at the time because you're less likely to make a mistake. So the next thing you want to do is you want to take some foundation that mimics the color of your scalp, and you want to place that on the closure, on the part on the closure, and you can place a little bit on your scalp as well, because the goal is to make it look as natural as possible. And the foundation that I used in this video was MAC Face and Body in the color 6. Just because that's a good color for me. And so then the next thing you're going to see me doing here is wanding the hair on the closure and a little bit of my own hair so that the curl pattern begins to blend with the natural curls on the U-part unit, and so that I can get my hair to blend with the closure. So the curling iron that I'm using is Hot Tools, and I think I got it at Sally's, and I think it's a 1/2 inch barrel or 3/4 of an inch, I'm not sure, but I'll try to get all the information about it and put it below, because I know some of you are going to ask. So the only hair that I am wanding is the hair on the closure, just to make it blend better, and so you'll just see me continue to do that all the way around the head here. So the U-part application itself is actually done. Now you just see me styling a little bit, and then I'm going to add just a little bit more foundation in a minute, just because you can kind of see the line of where the closure starts and where my scalp starts, and you want that to be undetectable. So you'll see me do that here in a minute again, and I'll put all the details about everything that I used in this video below. And I know many of you are going to ask what kind of cap I use. I just use a regular like spandex dome cap that I got at my local beauty supply store. That way, you know, my real hair is protected the most with that type of cap. And so now you just see me pulling out the curls and fluffing the hair out so that it blends. And then, as you see again, I'm going to add just a little bit more foundation. So I just kind of put a little bit more where my real hair seemed to meet and where the closure seemed to meet, just to give it a more natural appearance, as you can see here. And then this is the finishing look. I absolutely love this hair. It's so gorgeous, guys. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or anything I missed, please leave them in your comment section below. Bye.